Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Ally Jaffee. I'm an NHS junior doctor and I am absolutely passionate about mental health, and I am a speaker and campaigner in this space as well. I'm also the co-founder of a startup called Nutritank, which is all about preventative medicine and getting nutrition and lifestyle education to the healthcare workforce. And I also am a patient and talk about my own lived experience with depression, and I always hope when I speak to make my mess into my message and help serve my community.
So, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the Dinner Party podcast.
Yes.
Been one of the people we've wanted to speak about the most because your story is so illuminating.
Shocka, aka Kenneth, is a rapper and mental health advocate from Tottenham, London. He gained recognition for being 1/3 of the grime collective Marvel, alongside Double S and Vertex. After dealing with mental health issues himself, Shocka became a mental health advocate to help those suffering through their own problems, and he did this through his music. He has since aimed to raise awareness of mental health issues and has been a speaker on TEDx and numerous talk shows. His 2018 single, Self-Love, reflects his personal journey with mental health issues and how he came to terms with these difficulties. He's a huge advocate for self-love and self-compassion and believes it's so important to teach someone how to love and appreciate themselves, no matter what their background or identity is. He released his debut album, Impact Over Numbers, on the 16th of May 2020, and the album was noted for exploring a variety of topics, including mental health, friendship and miscarriage. Let's hear it for our wonderful guest.
And I just really wanted to get in today about how you've managed to kind of rewrite your story in a way. It's been a story of many challenges, but to actually guide others, especially young people. So I know you mentor a lot of young musicians, artists. So I just want to get stuck into that today. Yeah, I want to just start off by saying is actually, for my first question is, what does self-love actually mean to you?
My definitions have changed. First, I thought self-love was what probably everybody thinks self-love is, which is having a nice bubble bath, getting a massage, having a spa, going to a restaurant with your friends, getting your nails done, buying clothes, going shopping. That's what everyone thought. That's what I thought self-love was, and I'm sure everyone thinks that is. Until I met a woman, not met her, but until I discovered a woman called Louise Hay. I don't know if you know who she is. Do you?
I only read about her through your work.
Yes. No one really knows who she is, and I thought I was behind. Louise Hay's company, you got to give me a percentage because I've been screaming out her name everywhere I go.
Commission.
I need something. But yeah, she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. That's where it started. So what happened was, after I got discharged from hospital the third time in 2016, the doctor said to me, you need to figure something out because you've been sectioned 3 times already and you're like 27 years old. God willing, you've got a long life ahead of you. And you don't want that to consist of just more sectionings after sectioning. So we're going to help you, but you need to figure something out. And as soon as she said that, something just clicked in my head. I was like, he's right. I can't just depend on this intervention team that's coming to my house every 2 days. And they're not really doing nothing. Obviously, you know the system too, but the intervention team that comes to your house, all they say is, how you doing? Are you taking the medication? Are you sleeping well? Like, that's rubbish. Talking about someone that's experienced, do you know what kind of trauma I experienced on a ward? Who was there to guide me through those traumas? Who was there to tell me what trauma even means? Come from the background I came from, I didn't even know that word, these words like trauma, words like sectioning,
And self-love, I'm sure.
didn't exist in my vocabulary. So I discovered Louise Hay from a girl. She had it on her WhatsApp story. I think WhatsApp story was just new. Remember, there wasn't WhatsApp story before. It was just new, and I was checking her story and she had a book. And I was like, is that a good book? She said, try it. I bought it, and that's when I fell in love with Louise Hay. But I'm not a reader. I'm a visual person. So I was like, please, let me check YouTube, and I hope she's got some videos. And I typed her name into YouTube, and all her videos came up, and I got to see her face and fall in love with her energy. And then she had a video about self-love, and she was saying how self-love is not what you buy necessarily, it's how you talk to yourself. And that's when everything made sense. Because she was trying to explain that internal dialogue you have with yourself starts from when you're born, obviously not fully when you're born, but from a young kid to the rest of your life. So she was like, if you have a miserable internal dialogue, imagine having a whole life of that. That's hell on earth. But she's like, if you have a good, positive, everyone you meet is really just reflecting that dialogue you have with yourself, really, when you think about it. So if you have a beautiful conversation with yourself, that's the biggest form of self-love. How you speak to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, that was a long answer.
Powerful things to go into school curriculum.
Yes.
Because we think of these things, soft skills, like, you know, you're here telling me about self-love as being the thing that's been one of the most important ingredients to your recovery. And it sounds, in a way, someone without lived experience, without the context, oh, maybe this is also wishy-washy and whatever. But these soft skills about resilience, about emotional intelligence, emotional literacy, being able to name emotions like and terminology around
it helps.
That all needs to be, you know, taught to kids from such a young age.
Yeah.
So I want to hear a little bit about what young Shocka, what young Kenneth was like, and where you schooling like. What was your, what was the internal monologue going on in your teenage life?
Do you know what? I was pretty confident as a kid. And just to add some context to that, I'm an older child.
Okay.
I've got no brothers, no sisters, and I'm my mum's pride and joy. So, like, you can imagine I was spoiled. I got everything. My house was the house that people will come to enjoy themselves. All right, let's go to Shocka's house. He's got PlayStation. He's got PS1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you know what I mean? And my mum, good food. I was like the fun house. People used to come to my house to get away. And then also, I don't know how this happened, but someone's phone, you know, we had like house phones them times, it wasn't mobiles. Someone's phone, I don't know what they did, but they connected it to us somehow, and we had free phone for years. So people used to come to my house to like use the phone. I don't know what happened, but like we had a free phone for years, and like everyone used to come to our house to like late. Oh, Shocka, please, can I come to your house just to make a quick call? So like my house was like the house, and like that kind of shaped who I was. It shaped who I was in a good and a bad way. I'll tell you the pros and cons. The pros to it is that like I was confident and like I was living in my own fairy tale world, thinking that everything goes my way. The cons to it is that it didn't prepare me for the real world.
No.
In the real world, the world doesn't revolve around you. Everything doesn't go your way. Things can happen that you're not prepared for. And like being the only child, my mom didn't, and my father wasn't in my life. And I was talking to someone the other day. I only realized the seriousness of not having my dad in my life as I got to this age. When I was younger, I just felt like it doesn't matter. His presence, I don't really necessarily even feel it. It's only as I've got to this age and I'm looking after myself now and I'm going through adversity and serious times, I'm like, this is where like my mom couldn't guide me through, because my mom's more leaning towards the feminine energy. Like she's more open up to me, cry with me, whereas my dad would have given me that balance of like, you just got to push through this or whatever, however he would have said it. So, I mean, which I never had. Hence why I can, like, articulate myself so well and, like, understand people's emotions, because I've lived around women for so long, like my mums and my aunties. So, like, that just rubs up on me naturally. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what it was like for me being young. I was just, and in terms of school-wise, I was a class clown.
So you always were getting the laughs and, like, the spotlight.
Yes. Yes.
And what about your relationship with failure? So you said that your childhood was largely good, your school years were good, not friends, laughter, the party house, the entertaining house. And what about actually getting into the real world and dealing with failures? How was your relationship at school or with your friends with making mistakes and owning them and bouncing back from them?
We made mistakes in school, but they didn't seem like big mistakes. Right. It was only like, like low stakes. It was only like, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't that. I can't remember a serious mistake I made in school that was like really like, the big mistakes came after school. I think the big one was when we got dropped from the record label. That's where my mental health journey started. That was a big one, because that was life-changing. It was literally life-changing. I was in a situation that could change my life forever. There's people that's come along and invested money into me, that was a shift too. But imagine them investing big money into this podcast and telling you like, we need 500,000 views every week. I don't know how you're going to make that happen, but you got to make it happen. There was high pressure, which I wasn't used to. As I told you, I just came from like doing everything for my own time and, you know, but not knowing the real world, there's expectations like that. When you go to work, they expect something from you. When you sign to a record label, they expect something from you. And if you don't deliver, you see a different side to them. And that's what happened. we didn't deliver, and like, we're all cool now though. Funny, it's gone full circle, but at that time, it was business. We didn't deliver. We had records to sell. We didn't sell. We got called into a meeting and we got dropped from the record label. That's just how it goes. But I was young. I didn't know the game. I didn't, as I mentioned, like, it's not like I've got an older brother that's been through things like this before that can sit me down and say, this is what happens, or I'm literally
You're stabbing in the dark.
stabbing in the dark. And I'm like,
You have any mentors at that time?
I didn't.
In the music industry.
I didn't. The only mentors I had was like the OGs in my area.
Yeah.
And they were like negative mentors in that sense. They was telling us to chase girls and buy clothes and, do you know what I mean, all the wrong things. But it's not, I don't blame them because that's all they knew themselves. Because it's like, it's funny because those same people are now coming to me and asking me for advice now. So like, yeah, so it's proper full circle.
So prior to that, had you ever experienced such a great disappointment?
No, everything was smooth sailing up until that. Girls, smooth sailing, clothes, just fun times, everything smooth sailing. That was my first of like, wow.
Yeah. Like the whole world just...
My whole world just kind of shook because it was at a period when everyone was going off to university, everyone was picking out what jobs they want to do. And I was at a crossroad because, as I told you, I wasn't really that academic.
Yeah.
I didn't go to university with everyone, but I always knew I wanted to do music. I always knew that from young. So now I've got this opportunity. And what was more difficult as well is that I was in a group. I was in a group for years. And what people don't understand about a group is that, like, there's so many different decisions that now I'm a solo artist. I can just come here when I want. Whereas in a group, I could be ready at 12 and the two other band members haven't even showered yet. Our destinies are intertwined. I mean, it's like, oh, you're playing in my life here, but like we're a group, so.
How many men? How many young men?
3.
3. How did you support each other? Or did you even have the language to support each
We
other?
didn't have the language. When I had my first breakdown, I got sectioned. They didn't know where to start. I remember them coming to visit me, looking at me thinking, what are you doing here?
Seen any family members? Have they seen telly? What representation had they seen of mental illness when they came to see you?
Nah. The only thing they had seen was like the guy in our area that was talking to himself in the corner. That was like their view of like mental health. And even that, it was the worst kind of representation as well because they just saw it as like, you're going mad. That was like the highest point of what they saw. Even though mine wasn't even to that extreme, but they just grouped it into that. Like, that was the rumors that was going around the estate. Oh my God, hear what happened to Shocka? He lost his mind. That was making me more paranoid about being discharged because I was thinking, that's what I'm going to have to face when I get back to my area. I'm going to have to face everyone saying, that's what makes it really difficult. And I see why people don't want to come on platforms like this and share their story because you have to explain it every single time. Someone asks you, how have you been? Where have you been? I haven't seen you in 2 months. Then you've got to go. It's up to you, obviously. You can just say, I've been okay. But if you want to go into it, then you've got to do that every single time. And it gets draining and people judge you and you can tell by the looks people give you when you mention the word section in people's face just drop. Where I was lucky, I'm so lucky compared to a lot of people, is that I kind of had status and I was like someone in the industry. So people kind of gave me the benefit of a doubt. And it worked in both ways. It worked in a way where people wanted to investigate in mental health more because I went through it. So you know what I mean? It's like hearing Drake had a breakdown. Hopefully he doesn't. But hearing Drake had a breakdown, it's going to make people think, oh, wow, Drake, his life's so, do you know what I mean? And it'll make you start thinking about your mental health. And that's what I think I did for a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends was like, so I feel like I was picked to do that in a weird way. It's like you can make, that's what I truly believe. I don't know if that's concrete fact, but that's what I believe. I believe like my life and the way I was positioned and who I was in my area, like, I don't know if the universe was scanning around, but like, it's like, you can be the perfect person to make the spotlight come.
And so tell us about how you developed the language to talk about your story so open.
Oh my God. I didn't start speaking about it till the 3rd time. You know that 3rd time when the doctor said you need to do something? Yeah, luckily, that was a penny drop. The first 2 times I didn't say a word. I just tried to blend back into society. Like,
okay, did your mom came to visit you?
Yeah, my mom came to visit me.
Who did you, did you allow me to come visit you?
My mom would bring friends. My mom would bring friends, like, without my consent. Like, I'll just see my mom would pop up and my friend would be with her and I'll think.
Is that, how do you feel about that?
If I could have had it my way, I would have told her not to bring no one. Because they're here already, I just kept my composure, just acted like, nice to see you. But in my head, I was thinking, fuck, can I swear on this? In my head, I was thinking, fuck, you see me like this. I still had that kind of, do you know what I mean, mentality of like, because I think that's one thing that we're all afraid of is people seeing us in our most vulnerable states, not knowing that that's the state that gives people the most respect for you because they've seen you in your naked, raw state. So it's like, there's nothing left after that. Whereas like, we look at it in the reverse way. It's like, oh my God, you've seen me. Whereas like, it's the opposite. It's like, no, I've seen you now. So now I can respect you. Like, this is you. So now they know that all the other stuff you've been showing me wasn't, this is you. And now I can respect it. So like, I think that's how me and my friends became closer. After they saw me in the raw form, we can talk about anything now. Because it's like,
so do you think you kind of unlock something within them? You unlock something within yourself?
Not consciously. It happened just by them seeing me like that. Not consciously, because I would have never. It's just how it happened. Yeah. Consciously, I would have said no one don't see me, but because this has happened and they saw me, that respect, and even what they see me doing now, I don't even know how they must be looking at it like, what is, because like, for my family and friends, they must be the most proud. Because they're probably thinking, we saw you in hospital. Everyone else is just getting stories about, like, I'm just telling you stories about what I was like. They really saw me in visits and saw me, you know what I mean, left me there because don't forget I can't go with them. Or, I don't know if you've got any people that's been sectioned, but you can bring you into the environment for like an hour and then bring you back. You can go and leave. So they took me on leaves and brought me back. So like for them to see me now, like, just trying to conquer the world like a maniac. It must be crazy. It must be crazy for them to see.
It's incredible, and you did it in your own time. I feel like it sounds so authentic. Everything you're saying, it's like you didn't feel this pressure on you to be an activist in but it's just felt.
It happens. So even the word mental health advocate, how I adopted that happened so naturally. I heard it and I kept hearing it, and I was thinking, surely I can be one though, even though I haven't studied and got like a certificate, but like. My experiences are valid.
Experts point.
Yeah, the people that are studying my life. So I was like, surely I'm a mental health advocate. And then I had to redefine it. I was like, what does a mental health advocate mean to me? And I was like, a mental health advocate to me is someone that uses their darkness they've been through to shine a light for someone else. And I was like, that means everyone's a mental health advocate because everyone can do that. Everyone's been through some form of darkness. And if they choose to, they can use that experience to help someone else, or they can just keep it to themselves. It's up to you. I always tell people me deciding to like speak about my journey was the best decision I ever made in my life, because I would never met you.
Absolutely. And I would never met you. And so with that ripple effect, talking about your kind of inner core of all your boys that know you well, I loved, for instance, Rowan Kemp did that documentary on Outside of the Emergency about suicide, like losing your best mate Joe, and he spoke about the how are you really, asking twice scenario when you meet your friends in the pub or park or whatever. So what does it look like with you and your boys, like surface answer versus know what's going on?
It looks like longer voice notes. It looks like, Shocka, can I tell you something? Which is like a rarity for a guy to do. It's just, I can't explain it. It's just, I can just see the difference. Our conversations have changed. There's nothing that we won't touch on. It doesn't feel awkward to go deeper than beyond the surface and talk about failures. And like, whenever something happens, we talk about it straight away. Say I had a friend that got kicked out of their house. Normally, like, they would hide that until their situation is better, and then say, do you know 2 months ago I got kicked out of my house? Now we'll say it on the day, like, oh my God, you never believe it. I'm on a train with all my clothes and stuff. I've just been kicked out. So like, we talk about everything. And I saw the shift because my album's called Vulnerability is the New Cool, just to plug that in there. I remember when I first said that title to my friends, and like, there was like, vulnerability, like, why were we talking about men? And we had all of that back and forth. And then like, I saw the slow shift after more posts that I started posting about it. They started like incorporating it into their sentences, like, I'm just being vulnerable, so like, I mean, I saw the shift, and so I'm seeing it. It's a beautiful thing. And I hope it's like helping them the way it's helped me, because I saw Lauryn Hill said something in her, what's that thing that Lauryn Hill did where they're around MTV Unplugged? her Unplugged, she said something that I always relate to. She said she's a crazy scientist because she tests out all her belief systems and theories on herself first to see if it works, and then she shares it to the world. And I feel like that's what I'm like. Everything I'm saying, I'll test it on myself first. So vulnerability, I'll try it first. I'll be vulnerable, see, nah, I'm not going to tell the man about that. That didn't really work. And if it does work, I'll go back to everyone and be like, yo, trust me. You know what they said about men crying? Trust me, it's a lie. Or if they are right, I'm like, trust me, bro, they're right. Then I test it out myself first. And I think everyone should do that. I think your thoughts and what you believe, you should use it on yourself first and see if it actually works. Because it's going to work for someone else because they're human too.
You have to walk in, like, you can't, there's a few things, you can't be what you can't see. So it's amazing that you've been able to role model these, experimenting belief systems with your friends. But also it's a case of, like you said, you can't believe it strongly if you haven't experienced it.
Exactly, yeah.
And so when you think of the people you mentor in your life, so the people in younger generations, what does that look like to you? And it sounds like school is amazing. So, you don't need to rewrite things and say, oh, I would have changed this about me. I would have changed how I acted. But if you're talking to youngsters in school, guys who want to get into the music career or who want to be more open about their mental health, what kind of suggestions do you give to them?
Purpose. First, you have to find your vocation, what you want to do with your life. For men, it's so important. For women, it's slightly different. It's still the same. You still want to have something you're doing and, but it's slightly different because you can get a man to come in and like maybe help you if certain, with life, if you know what I mean. Whereas like men, we are like, what I mean by that is like, how many homeless women do you see on the street compared to homeless men? And if you do see homeless women, someone's going to pick them up. Maybe not to do necessarily help them in the best way, but like they will get offered a hand quicker. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was driving and I saw a woman with her hand out on the side of the road with a bunch of bags saying help, and the guy was driving, trust me, that woman's getting picked up before the guy's getting picked up. So like for men, I feel like having something to do really helps us with our self-esteem and just our mental health in general. It makes us feel like we're working. Do you know what I mean? It's important. Like whenever someone comes up to me, a guy especially, DMs me and tells me they're a bit depressed, they're a bit low, I always ask 3 questions. 2 questions especially. I ask, are you making money at the moment? That's like so important. And what do you do? And if you do have a job, do you like it? Because you can be working, but do you necessarily, is it what you want to do? These things are important things because these are things that like, we have to wake up and think about every day. Every day you got to wake up and go to whatever your job is. And if you don't like that, that's hell. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, my life didn't start getting better until I started making money, until I found my purpose, what I wanted to do, until I got more clear on my beliefs, the things I believe. That was the biggest one, because those can affect you like unconsciously.
I agree with that. I always say that when I talk about recovery or mental health, what does it look like? I always say that challenging your belief systems comes with all perfect connection, nutrition, sleep, whatever, because if you don't have the foundations of knowing what thoughts to believe or not, then you can become attached to a purpose that might not even be alive.
Yes, exactly.
So that's such a good point.
Because I was doing a panel the other day and they said something to me. There was like, in this social media age, there's so much information. And he was like, how do you filter the information? Because like on your timeline, there's this information come from everywhere. I was like, you filter it by knowing what you want to do. If I'm a hairdresser, I'm going to be a specialist in like hairdressing information. That should be majority of my timeline. Obviously mixed with other stuff, but I should specialize in that. And that's how I filter stuff. If not, I'm just going to be taking information about everything. Because I'm a genius in this department, but put me in the football department, I won't know what is going on or where to start. And that's not a bad thing. Some people think they need to know everything, but you can't. David Beckham probably doesn't know about acting.
I think one of the bravest and just most real things anyone can say is, I don't know.
Yeah.
A doctor, a barrister, a flight, pilot, whatever. Anyone in any crazy role that is, senior and has power, them saying I don't know makes me respect them.
Yeah, and I've noticed that the world respects specialists. they really respect. Like if I got a knee injury and I come to a doctor and he says I do arms, I do shoulders, and I do knees, and then there's another doctor that just does knees, I'm going to the one that just does knees. So, do you know what I mean? Because I know that, like,
orthopedic turn.
yeah, I know that you're gonna, do you know what I mean? Whereas this one does a bit of arms, a bit of, do you know what I mean? So that's what I realized, like, people love specialists. Like, they love people that are, like, special. Like, David Beckham, they used to call him for free kicks. You know what I mean? David Beckham was a free kick. He had his role. And, like, I always give people that advice, that be a specialist in your field. Specialists always make the most money. The people have, you get referred to a specialist. You go to a GP and they'll be like, oh no, we can't handle this. We're going to refer you to a specialist. So, like, you want to be the specialist they refer you to. So
speaking of the healthcare world, GP specialist, the specialism of psychiatry, which is my training specialty.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your relationship with psychiatry. Had you come across the field before you became a patient in it?
No.
What did you think of psychiatry before you became a patient in that field?
I've got the most ignorant answer. I just thought it was, like, just for people that's crazy. And, like,
what did you grow up watching? Like, what were your representations of mental illness?
I don't think I saw it in movies, but I saw it in my area. I had a lot of people that was, like, losing, quote unquote, losing their minds in my area, because I come from a really poor background. That's what I'm saying. I understand when I say you need the money, you need it. Because now I'm looking at these people, I can see what wasn't there. I was like, oh, it's finances. Finances can drive you crazy. And, like, not having nothing to do, just waking up to the same building and the same thing, same routine, it can drive you. And it's like, those was my only experiences with, like, mental health. And I used to see these people. Yeah, I had no proper real education on, like, what it looks like to be sectioned. That's why I got a video that I posted on TikTok, semi going viral. Just people won't stop liking and commenting on it.
Yeah.
And it's a video of, like, me when I was in hospital, but I showed what it looks like, and I'm showing the patients, which is something I shouldn't have done. But if anyone knows me by now, you know I don't follow rules. I'm here to.
Yeah.
I'm very disruptive. I am very disruptive. Don't follow rules. Change the game. Disruptive. So, like, I just filmed it. I just filmed the patients, filmed the staff, filmed what was going on in the hospitals, and people are, like, shocked by it because we don't get to see what it. People have this perception of what it looks like, and it looks like this. But just with people that's just not, really well.
So tell us, what did it look like for you on your 3 experiences? Were they always in the same trust?
No, I went to different experiences, which was good for me because I got to see.
Yeah.
I got to see the difference. No.
Say number one.
I got to. No, I will name them.
Okay.
I will name them. The first one I went to, I told you the rules. We just don't get along. The first one I went to was St. Anne's.
Okay.
They got a new ward now, but I went there in 2012 when I first got sectioned. It was horrible. It was like, the feel of it. It felt like there was, like, ghosts. I can't explain it. It was horrible. You've been on wards, so you know it was horrible. That is the worst ward I've been on out of all the wards I've been on. Then I went to Chase Farm. I don't know if you've heard of Chase Farm. Yeah. Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, let me not put you into this. Anyway, it's me. Listen to me. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool. I don't want to put you in trouble. Then I went to Chase Farm. Chase Farm wasn't that bad. It wasn't the greatest. It's when I went to Priory. I went to.
So from NHS to private is probably.
And the only reason I went to Priory is because there weren't no space in NHS.
So you were still an NHS patient?
Yeah, but there weren't no space, so I got subbed. So I happened to fall into Priory, yeah? And I was like, what is this? This is better than my bedroom at home. And I meant to be in a mental health hospital. Like, Priory is different. Private hospital, I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. Like, I had a patient that was next door to me, and he was like, I don't want to go back home. It was like, the way my living circumstances was outside of this, it's not like this. Like, he's getting food, morning, afternoon, lunch. I mean, some people are living, like, horribly outside of it.
I know.
And then...
it's horrible because that's an issue with social care because, from the NHS clinician perspective, you want hospitals to be therapeutic. You want they can't be hotels either. There has to be a way of making the outside better, because we shouldn't be, you know, these bubbles of isolation, be in the community and be able to stand on 2 feet. But it's very tricky.
Yes.
It's the hospital room is better than what you have on the outside. It's I don't.
I think it should be like that though, because it obviously you have those cases where they say they don't want to go home.
Hard to go back then.
What, back to their living condition?
Saying if it should be, I definitely agree that your experience in your first one, if it's decrepit.
It's hard to go back, but when they do go back, they go back with a new standard of themselves, which would eventually reflect on the outside when they get, because they're going to want to get back to that standard, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But because the standards are so low of how it is, you come out with a lower self-esteem than you went in. Do you know what I mean? When you go hospital, you're meant to come out improved. That's the whole point. Like, that's why, oh, she's in hospital, right, cool. Next time I see her, she should be better. Whereas like people, because I always ask myself, how does people keep coming back into hospital, relapsing? But it's like, they don't do much for you in the wards. That's another thing that we need to discuss. I don't know who's going to change that, but who's going to bring different activities onto the ward?
The coordinators is obviously a role on the ward, but unfortunately, as it always is the case, different wards will have more funding than others. Different trusts will have more funding. Yeah. And activity coordinators are the first to go. OTs, etc. They are the people that bring the soul to the ward.
Yes.
Karaoke night.
Yes.
You know, barbers coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen the most beautiful, just humanity on the wall of what these guys and their job roles do. But then I've also seen where the funding's been cut and they're having it every fortnight rather than every week. And that's obviously what you're describing improves the quality of life.
Yeah.
And so what was it like for you on all 3 wards? What activities did you do? Did you feel up for it? Because the other...
I didn't feel up for it. I was proper introverted when I was in hospital. Proper. And the only reason why I was is because I didn't want to get... Every time I came out to socialize, I felt myself losing myself, because the environment is so different and you can get lost in it. It's a world you can get lost in. And I was like, if I want to come out of this place still in one piece, I need to keep myself to myself. And they used to make jokes. They used to call me the guy that never comes out of his room. You know, like they check on you and they're like, are you still all right? Yeah, food's in 2 hours. And I'm like, yeah, cool. But like, I wouldn't come out of my room because like every time I came out, I just felt like I was losing myself. Do you know what I mean?
Did you crave social connection? I can't imagine. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. I haven't been in that position, so I don't know what I do. But did you ever crave social connection when you were like isolating yourself?
Not really. Not really. I'm my only child. Like,
you know how to
I know how to. Yeah, because as an only child, it's different. Because when you're not an only child, you kind of look outside for help. Let me go to my brother. Let me go to my sister. When you're an only child, you look within for help. So like, most only children would disappear and then come back out. And you'd be like, Ra, where have you been? They're like, I was going through something. I just had to go back into the hyperbolic time chamber. We go into ourselves. So what I'm doing is so new for me. The fact that like I come out and do cameras and, you know, speak to you. And because like normally I would handle it differently. I'll just like go into myself and then, because I'm not used to, because I don't have brothers and sisters. I'm not used to, so I'll go into, that's why it's so easy for me to fix my mind. Because I'm always there. I was like, fuck it. I might as well just do the work. I'm here with you. I'm always here. Where some people ain't always even in their heads. They're like everywhere else. Yeah.
And what about, so you obviously spent a lot of time by yourself when you were on the ward. Were there any therapeutic activities, art therapy, music therapy that you got involved in?
Well, I did music therapy. That was the only thing that nearly got me out of my room. Because I love music. That was the only thing that nearly got me out of my room. Yeah. Was they knocked on my door one day and said, oh, hey, you want to do music therapy? I was like, music?
Yeah.
Yes, let's go. And I got there and like, it was the worst thing ever. It was a laptop. It was low budget. It was a low budget. It was a table like this with a bunch of us around it. And they had a laptop and you had to like play a song and then pass the laptop on. And I was like, this is terrible. They didn't even ask me why I chose that song, what that song meant for me. They could have, before they even started, they could have went into a whole like dialogue of like why music therapy is so important and just drew us all in. Like, trust me, there's so much things that can improve.
Well, I'm going to give a big shout out. So this podcast is sponsored by Central Northwest London Trust, and I was lucky enough to work in a male psychiatric intensive care unit there when I had just qualified as a doctor probably 3 years ago, and I was called Nile Ward. It's in Children's Hospital in Notting Hill, and they had great funding. So that was a huge difference. And I did drama therapy with the guys, and we had such a laugh. Like,
What's that like? What's drama therapy? What's that?
It's interesting. So they got an actress. They got funding to get an actress who was part of one of these acting schools. And she led us all through a scene from a script from the film. I can't remember the name of the film right now. It's got orange in it, but it's this Hollywood film. Meryl Streep's in it, Julie Roberts in it, etc. And we were doing it's about a dysfunctional family getting together at Christmas. There's addiction, so there's loads of different themes going on, and we played different characters. And it was great. Like, the guys were really enjoying it. She led it, and she was like, "Can you speak louder? Can you say it with what mood do you think the character would be?" You know, asking the question about a character development. I'm a big fan of the art.
That's amazing.
Storytelling. That was really cool to see. I enjoyed it. I was there, like, you know, stuff. And then the other thing I know that they were doing, and I don't know if the project ever got finished, but we can find out, is they had funding to create a full-on music studio on the board.
That's amazing.
Which was beyond, like, proper equipment, like...
That is amazing.
The right padding, the sound, so you can be...
How did the patients take to the whole drama therapy?
It's choice, isn't it? I remember doing it with probably me and 3 lads.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's not everyone's going to say yes. It's like, why would you all of a sudden say yes to everything? And there was, like, a lot about football, because CNWL have a lot of football groups. So, and they had a garden on the ward. It's about what ward you get put on, isn't it? Because they had this amazing garden. They had basketball hoops. They had a herb garden. The guys did gardening with someone who was, like, a prized gardener. It depends who is there in these leadership roles facilitating these activities. And then I ran, which was what was really exciting, I ran a cooking project on the wards, because food. And what I was interested in is how, when people go into psych wards, you obviously get put on a lot of medication, which is absolutely essential. But what maybe people don't realise is that this medication will have an impact on your body, on your weight, on your metabolic health. And then you need to think, well, how can I counteract that? Like, a lot of people, with no judgment here, I love comfort food too, you think, I want comfort food, delivery, pizza, kebabs, whatever, into the ward. But actually, what I wanted to do was just do a little bit of education around how we can eat for our brain health and also for our metabolic health. So what we put on our plate will have not only an impact on our weight, because a lot of the guys I spoke to, that was the thing they were really frustrated by. And some of them are pre-diabetic from the medication, because it increases your hunger and disrupts your metabolism. And then the other thing was about, I want to feel like I've got more energy, less brain fatigue. So I ran a kind of brain healthy 5-week cooking project. And one of the guys, and he's like this big guy, and he was like to me, "Doc, you've got me to go from KFC to kimchi. I've never even heard of it." I was like, yeah, like, we don't be, like, it doesn't always be expensive. We did it less than £2 per person, like, in every meal. Like, you can do it on a budget. It's just education. And obviously there are loads of other social terms of cooking well and eating well, but I just wanted to show them
that you can do that. Exactly.
And it can have an impact on your weight and your brain. What was it like for you cooking and your not cooking?
I definitely wasn't cooking.
What was it like for your meals and everything on the ward? Your hunger, or what effect was the medication happening on you? Were you sedated?
So basically, I take a medication called risperidone, but I was on like 2-3 other ones that they added to it. And I remember my auntie coming to see me at a visit. She was like, "You are out of it." And she's like, she was upset. She spoke to the nurses, and she was like, "What have you got him on? Like, look at him. Like, why is he like this?" And then, they took it away and got me back on just risperidone, and I came back to myself. But like, I don't even remember what she's talking about. That's how out of it I was. I was like, but yeah, I came back to myself. So that's one time I do remember being heavily medicated.
You know, it is trial and error. That is psychiatry, and I'm a big believer in just saying, like, you can't always get it right first time out. It's a shared partnership. You working with your medical team and having an answer who advocates for you like that when you weren't able to for yourself.
And imagine people that don't have that. That's how you just fade into the system, and then they never become the person they was before ever again. I easily could have got this frightening when I think about it. If my auntie went there, that's it.
But you're living proof that, you know, so many people can be so anti-medication and, these things.
I was too. That led to like my first 2 breakdowns.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't. I wasn't trying to take medication, or I'll come off it secretly without saying nothing to no one. But then they'll start seeing signs and they'll be like, are you on your medication still? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, nah, you've been, do you know what I mean? So I hated taking medication because there was so much like stigma around it, especially in my area. Especially around young black youth as well. Like, when you look at it like they're trying to poison you, or they're trying to... It was only when like I got sectioned out 3 times and I was like, let me try it. Not try it, but let me try to stay on it, because like you've done the other way, which is coming on and off it, and like it's not working for you, so let me stay on it. And then what helped me too was, because I started sharing my story and doing things like this, I had nowhere to hide anymore. That's why I keep trying to push vulnerability to people, because I'm saying once you become extremely honest and transparent about your situation, it's scary, but it frees you, because everyone knows everything. So like there's nowhere to hide. So like everyone knew I've been sectioned, everyone knew I take medication, so now I can take it with my friends. Just bring it out of my pocket, and like, they're not surprised by it. It's like, oh, it's just this medication. Whereas before, I hadn't even accepted that I'd been sectioned. So I was still around my friends trying to, you know, pretend like nothing's happened. So imagine me realizing this medication time, I'm thinking, nah, I can't, because they're going to realize that, not knowing that we all know you just come out of hospital. So like, so once you just free yourself up.
So with medication, was it a psychological stigma you had, or?
It was a psychological stigma, because it didn't really have no effects on my physical body. Apart from once, I was like, I was gaining weight in like my face. But once they found the right medication, I was fine. So it was just a psychological thing.
For everyone, I think that's so important, because like some Asians I've spoken to, it's like, I hate my antipsychotics because they make me fat. Yeah. And they make me have an appetite that I can't control. Yeah. It's interesting, it's the medication itself. Yeah. And now you're out in, you know, in the open with all the discussions, it's absolutely fine. And so is it just part of your everyday?
It's once a night.
Yeah.
So it's practically not there, because I go through my whole day. It's only at night time before I sleep. So every night before I sleep, it helps with sleeping too. Yeah. Like risperidone and makes you it kind of helps you sleep.
Talk about sleep and lifestyle and about nutrition and how you've got self-love, but I want to talk about what else do you do to look after yourself. In terms of lifestyle and self-care, what do you do to look after yourself? We've discussed so far medication and compliance, that's key. Being open about your story and being in control of it and having that self-love and appreciation of...
That's the most important part. That is the most important part. The reason why that's the most important part, because that gives you peace of mind. I mean, you're at peace knowing that, like, I'm free, like, I'm just me and everyone's accepting me. If you don't have peace of mind, the rest of, I don't care what you do. You could go gym 4 times a week. You can eat healthy. After you've done all of that and you get a quiet moment, it's back again. Totally. Back haunting you again. So it's that peace of mind is key. That's where most of the suicides come from. That's where you see rich people that they say, oh, the billionaire, because he never had, something was troubling him, that he was trying to, and every time he had a moment, it kept back up. Whereas if you can deal with that, then the rest of the stuff are just like add-ons.
I couldn't agree with that more. I actually read this wonderful book by this American psychiatrist called Dr. Pooja Lakshmi. I'll get the full name. Yeah. And the book is called Real Self-Care. And she's basically myth-busting all the pop culture self-care that we see, the bubble bath, you know, go for a long walk and all these things that can be helpful. They're not dealing with the crux of it. And she literally goes through how to reprogram your psychological system, thoughts, being aware of them, knowing you are not your thoughts, and you can just see them and not have to get on that train and put the spotlight on you. And like you say, that's the key. She's good. Yeah. She's awesome. She is. About other things like alcohol, you said you've had a really...
Yeah, alcohol, so I'm not like a drinker. So I don't go to the shop and buy alcohol. It's only like if I'm with a friend socially, but you'll never see me, hopefully anyway, but you'll never see me like go into the shop and queue it up to get alcohol. Unless it's a celebration. If it's my birthday or something like that, then that's completely different. But if we're here now and there's alcohol, I might take a little sip or something, but I'm not a drinker. What I do, I'm an avid walker. I do lots of walks. It's a beautiful thing. I think there's, out of all of them, that one, and it's something we all can do. Some people don't like going to the gym. They just hate the look of it. But walking, you've got no choice, really, unless you're, disabled or something's happened. But apart from that, walking is a beautiful thing.
I really believe that, we've modernised so much in the 21st century that the power of walking has been totally forgotten. Tubes, transport, not going out shops, delivery, all these technology things that have made life easier. We've lost that just easy task to go and walk.
And it's what you're doing while you're walking as well. If you're walking and getting in tune with yourself and using that time to then it's...
Phoneless walks are probably one of my things.
Yeah. I don't do... I have my phone with me, but I'm not on it.
Yeah.
But I have it with me. But
so you can see...
Yes. No, not even that. I don't measure the steps. But I mean, I just have it. That's something, me and my phone are like, that's, how I said I don't have brothers and sisters? Yeah. That's like my cousin. That's like me and my phone. But
speaking of which, because this is obviously aimed at young people, how do you manage your phone time and social media? Like, what message do you have to say for young people and how to just...
It's difficult because my screen time is horrendous sometimes, if I'm being completely transparent. But it doesn't make me feel bad because I know what my screen time is horrendous on.
Okay.
It's unproductive thing. Like, I'm constantly learning.
Yeah.
Like, someone will say, I tell us...
Yeah. Do you really go the land with that? Or you want music related?
Just life. Yeah. But stuff within what I want to learn about. Like TikTok. Like, I've discovered, TikTok, and I've discovered a side of TikTok that I never knew. I thought TikTok was just about, the dancing trends and everyone messing about. But then,
no, it's proper education.
I live on there. I live on there.
And there's lots of doctors, nurses.
Yes.
Very good quality.
Yes.
I'm a big advocate for TikTok because there are good people on it. There's
yes. Yes. Yeah.
But it's obviously what you consume.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'll say to the young people is what you consume.
Yeah.
If you can tailor-make every part of your life, you'll be all right.
Because the comparison side, I think, in young people is really hard.
It's because of what they're seeing, though. If you've tailor-made it, then probably what you're comparing yourself to will be something positive. Because comparisons look bad. It's what you're comparing yourself to sometimes. Do you know what I mean? That's unhealthy. You know what I mean? You're comparing yourself to, like, I got a Bob Marley tattoo on my shoulder. Sometimes I've tried to put myself I'd love to affect people like how Bob Marley did. And it's helped me because it's put me on, I might never get that big. He's an icon. But,
my mom's number one.
Is it? I went to music.
No, I've never known love, her love.
That's what I'm saying. So if I can get an inch of his legacy, yeah, an inch. If I can affect people, I'm good. Yes, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I completely get you. It's good to have heroes and healthy relationships with that.
Yeah.
You're not going to die if you don't reach his level of success, and you're not going to hate yourself for not. But I see what you're saying.
But it pushes you in the right direction anyway. There's.
Yeah, but in terms of sleep, so other lives, I think, how do you maintain?
Sleep's so important. Yeah. So that's the second one.
Oh,
no! Yes!
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, we had to that moment had to happen.
Good holiday. I mean, you look gorge. All right, you know where you are. Yeah. Okay.
Love her.
It's the best.
Yeah, sleep's so important. Sleep is so... I wasn't sleeping. When I first had my first breakdowns? Because this is why hindsight is so beautiful. You can look back and analyze everything. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. And I remember what I was watching. So, I mean, you just know all the mistakes that you thought was cool at the time because no one told me. So I just probably thought, okay, I'm not getting 2 hours of sleep. It's cool. But no, that's ridiculous. So, sleep's so important.
So what do you do, especially obviously in the screen time and what do you do to sleep well?
I don't particularly have any like tips of like what I do to sleep well. I just sleep. But I feel like that again goes back to the peace thing I was saying.
Because if your mind's at peace, because that's what I say to a lot.
Because that's where most of the thinking happens, is at night.
I say,
nighttime?
a journal next to bed.
Yeah. Nighttime is where a lot of it happens.
Out.
Yeah.
Literally, I know, because I've been there myself.
Yeah.
You never sort stuff.
Yeah. And I heard Skepta said something in an interview one time that never left me. He said, they asked him what his goal is, and he said his goal is trying to minimize his reflection time before he sleeps. And I was like, wow. And it's true, that reflection time, for some people, 10 minutes. For some people, because they've got such a busy day, the next day they can't even afford maybe 2 minutes. And then, so if you can minimize it and get to a point where you just start falling to bed, then you know you're really good. But like some people, that reflection time is the whole night till daybreak. They're just up worrying and ruminating over things. But like, I agree with Skepta with that. If you can minimize your reflection time before you sleep, but you should have reflection time. It's important. It's definitely important. Just to, see how the day went in general. Yeah, exactly. But like, it shouldn't be too long.
Do you use your kind of talent with songwriting and things? Is that reflection for you?
Yes.
Is that a way for you to kind of regulate what's going on?
It is. And it is a way for me to say things I don't say in my normal life. Like, there's certain things you can't say in conversation. You can, but it's difficult. Having a one-to-one conversation is really hard. Whereas music, I can say everything. Like, most of my stuff comes out of my music. And my friends will be like, I didn't know that. Where did that come from? Let's talk about it. That's the only bad thing, is that, like, you forget that people's listening to your music.
And, like, discovering everything.
Yeah, because when I record it, it's just me and my engineer. He's heard everything. And God knows what he really thinks of me, but, like, it's just me and my engineer, and then like the world hears it, and then everyone starts asking you questions about, oh, your ex might hear a song.
That I feel like happens to every good artist.
And was that about me, or why did you say that? Like, how? I never knew how you felt. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So.
And so coming towards the end of our conversation, which I've just absolutely loved.
Yeah.
What about food? What about nutrition? And
my food's getting better. It used to be terrible. Like junk food and just all over the place. But now it's getting much better.
You see an impact? I'm not pushing,
I did see a negative impact.
Yeah.
I was more like,
slump.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. I was like sluggish, and I can feel it. Or like, I would sit down, I would lay down for a bit, and then I'll go to sleep. That's how, like, do you know what I mean? I knew something was wrong. I was like, what did I eat that just knocked me out like that? But like my diet's changed a lot due to my auntie. My auntie's like a cook. She loves cooking, and like she just cooks all these different stuff for me, like different stuff.
So specific.
Yeah.
So our last question,
is
food for fuel or food for pleasure? So do you eat to live or live to eat?
It's more down the pleasure side for me, I think. It's definitely not down the eating to live. It's definitely down the pleasure side, which is terrible, but like...
No, it's not terrible. I live to eat.
Yeah, it's definitely down the pleasure side. But like, I know there's repercussions. I just know. Because I feel it sometimes. You know when I said the sluggish thing? Like that one I noticed, but and I don't eat a lot. Yeah. I think that's what's probably helped me. Right. Is that like, I will eat one meal in the evening that will like make up for the 2 meals I missed. If that makes sense? I'll have like one big meal in a day. Because like, people always say to me, Shocka, you don't eat in the morning. And you don't eat, like, I haven't eaten today. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I know how I...
Not a breakfast person.
No, not a breakfast person. Never been a breakfast person. Used to be, but...
Yeah. And what were your dinners? So tell us. Be a bit more specific than stuff. What's she like?
What did I have? What does my auntie make me? She makes me a lot of rice, wings.
Yeah.
Lots of chicken wings a lot. Not spicy. I'm not a spicy person. Okay. My mum was though. My mum loves spice, but I didn't get that.
Okay.
Not spicy. I can't remember off the top of my head, but she just makes all different veggies. Yes, of course.
Into the greens or more into
the greens.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely more into the greens.
That's good. So you have an awareness of how food impacts your mind and your body.
Definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Definitely. But I'm not a foodie though.
No, that's you're a music guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a foodie.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been the most amazing conversation.
Appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
And I think it's important to comment on what you like about the system and what you don't like about the system.
Yeah.
So what would you say in terms of changing mental health system in this country. There's obviously a long way to go.
Yes.
You pointed to the fact that you wanted to feel pleasant, therapeutic and enjoyable when you're on the ward. So what changes would you like to see?
They definitely got to reinvent what those wards look like.
Yeah.
All of them.
Do you think visually, like if there was...
Like when you step into it, you shouldn't, like the last ward I was on, because I know, because I've been on different wards, I know the impact of what it feels like. Even when you think of people coming to visit you, you think, oh, they're coming to visit me in here. How are they going to view? Do you know what I mean? And I know I wasn't the only person that felt like that. There must have been other patients that felt like that. Whereas like the last time I was sectioned, that ward, I didn't think that thought. I just thought like, yeah, come. Do you know what I mean? It's like when your house is messy, you knew like it's a nice environment. And we're all consciously thinking like that. So the last ward I was on was a lovely ward. It was named after flowers. So I was on Tulip ward. And I didn't realise, I was thinking, why is it called Tulip? It's only because I got to come back there as a performer.
That's so cool.
Which was like so surreal. I came back there a month later.
What a phenomenal...
Someone booked me to come back. Once I've been discharged, I came back and I did like all the hospitals. And like, which is a different experience because when you come as a patient, you just come in the ambulance and get taken to your room. When you come as a performer, you go up the elevator, and you meet all the nurses, you get the VIP, they explain everything to you. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even see this. You have the nurses queuing up to shake your hand. I was like, oh, I like this. And then there was explaining like, oh, this is Tulip Ward, that's Blossom Ward. And I was like, there was like, it's all named after flowers. I was like, oh, okay. Just to give it that feel, and it made sense. So that's when I started advocating that it needs to change, because I know how much like it impacted me just being in that environment, the TV, table tennis. It just felt like I was away on camp, getting myself sorted. It didn't feel like I was in a hospital, a mental health hospital especially. Do you know what I mean?
So the ward, and the ward I spoke about, Nile Ward and CNWL, they've got a wonderful gym as well, and they've got a mental nurse that is also a PT and gets the guys to actually exercise on the wards, and he can predict.
Is that a private one?
No, but he got funding, he won funding.
Okay, and then reinvented the whole thing.
And he showed a 45% reduction in violence by knowing, because he knew the patients so well, the men, when they were about to have like a bit of rage or a bit of erratic behaviour, he was like, come on, we're going to go lift weights. And he caught it, they lift the weights, they got it all out, and then boom, there was no violence instances, and it reduces rapid tranquilization.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I've always wanted to know. I wanted to know the success rates of like people coming out, being discharged, coming back. Yeah. So I want to know if we're improving, because I know the whole world is speaking about mental health at the moment, which is a beautiful thing. But what are we improving? Do you think are we moving forward? Are we going in the right direction?
It's a very interesting one, because I think it's very hard to say from a top-down approach that we're improving when you look at it too much as a whole and as the NHS in its entirety. But from a bottom-up perspective, when I can be on the ground as a clinician, I would say I'm hopeful that we're improving, because I've seen some very, very good pockets in practice.
Cool.
And I know that they are wanting to innovate. So, for instance, South London Maudsley, which is another trust, they've seen amazing practice in Italy, in Trieste, from a psychiatrist who's a complete innovator out there, who has piloted community-based psychiatry for the last however many decades, where people aren't sectioned in institutions, but they're also in the community. And obviously that is high risk in some ways, but South London Maudsley are trialling that. So at least they're trying it in Lewisham, which is the highest number of black people in the UK, and the highest representation obviously in mental health wards. And they're doing it there to say that, if we can treat them more humanely, and if we can do it there, we can do it anywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
So I am pleased to see this, but I'm not going to, sugarcoat everything and say it's all cushy.
Yeah.
The system is. There is a lot of change that needs.
There is.
I want to see a lot from the lifestyle perspective.
Yes.
Lifestyle being spoken about, having good quality hospital food, reduction of ultra-processed food in mental health wards. There is so much research coming out showing the connection between food and mood.
Yeah.
And I think having exactly more activities. I love the arts, being able to have people inspired to express this.
Because it's literally boring, and I don't know if I'm taking that much time, but like, it's literally boring on a ward.
Yeah.
You do nothing. I know. And nothing.
Literally. All the wards around, that's what the patients.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to do better on that front.
Yeah, so whoever's going to fix that, but someone might be inspired with that idea that just sparks everything. So
Absolutely.
yeah, if that person's watching,
Yeah.
we're waiting for you, buddy, or she. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, I've learned so much and I'm so inspired by what you do. And it's amazing that you are such a voice for so many people in the industry, but also who have been through mental illness like you have.
For sure. Thank you.